Hello, boys and ghouls. It's your friend Luis. Some of you may know me because of my band entitled Teething. Some of you may know me because of my drawings, my illustration, under my alter ego Luisifer. But everyone in the world knows me because of my sidekick, my funny dog, Bingo. Today is a great day. The mailman just rang on the doorbell and gave me a hoodie. Gave me a hoodie I ordered. He didn't just give me a hoodie. He gave me a hoodie I ordered, which is a tie-dye hoodie. And it has like 7 or 8 colors on it. Blue, white, black, orange, pink, purple. It's insane. I'm getting old, you know? And so I don't know if I can pull this off. But the reason I bought this is because it has a really cool image in the center, which is like a computer taken from 1991. And on the screen it says "bad at life" and some skeleton hands like typing away. So if you ever see me walking Bingo with this hoodie, let me know if I can pull it off or not. Funny thing about clothes, since you ask, 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't know if I would be able to pull off combat boots, and here we are many years later, and I did pull them off. I look pretty darn good. Anyways, enough about my clothes, enough about my boots. Let's talk about today's special guest, which is Mel from the Canadian grindcore band Fuck the Facts. Awesome band, awesome conversation. We talk about Night of the Living Dead. We talk about food for what seems like 20 minutes, which I think is too much. And we talk about Mel's, like, more of her artistic side, which is really cool. I feel like she doesn't talk about this enough in other interviews. So I'm glad we were able to, like, deep dive onto some artworks she's done over the years. And let me shut up and please enjoy the conversation with Mel from Fuck the Facts. Enjoy. Mel,
How are you?
how are you?
Yeah, sorry about that. I archived by mistake the link, and I was like, I can't get it back.
Oh,
But all is good.
don't even worry about it. What's important is that you're comfortable, you're ready to go. The kids
Yeah.
are okay.
They're not here, so it's good.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. No, don't even worry. I apologize because I had to postpone last week.
Oh, no worries. It's all good.
Okay. So you good? You got your glass of water? You
Yeah.
want to get? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mel, what's up? How's it going? How are you feeling? Are you happy on this Sunday morning? It's 10 o'clock there, right?
Yeah. I actually put my alarm clock just to be somewhat awake for this. Like, I hope you're doing good too.
Okay, I'm great. Thank you for asking. I was guessing since I wasn't aware you were a mother of 2 at this point. Okay.
Yeah, we
so-
did that.
Okay. So I was just thinking maybe your clock, like, I thought maybe you were an early bird, but on Sundays you like to sleep in sometimes?
Well, what happened is last night, so Fuck the Facts, we do sometimes once a month, we do kind of a live stream.
Excellent.
So we did one yesterday with actually it was like Euro trip team. So we had Jan from Lenche and Jasper from Infested Art. So we actually got the kids looked after since yesterday, and we're picking them up like just after this.
Okay.
But yeah, normally I don't need an alarm clock. It just happens even if I don't want to. But this morning I was like, hey, there's no kids. I gotta do something to get up.
Great. Well, I was actually just this morning, I woke up early. I don't have kids, but I have a dog. I know it's not similar, but we go on our early morning routine. We take long walks. We pick up some coffee. So I was listening to your Euro live stream.
Oh wow. Cool.
Yeah, I didn't listen to the whole thing. I think it was like an hour and a half, but I did listen to some of your conversation with Jasper. So that's cool because like I feel like Fuck the Facts has like built like a really cool group of like European friends since you've been here so many times. I feel like you all invested like a lot of time in Europe and it's paid off.
Well, it's like anywhere, right? You start touring, and I was talking about that a bit actually yesterday. It's like everybody in the scene is obviously not there to make money, because everybody would stay home if that was the case. So everybody's there for the right reason,
Right.
because they love it and they believe in what they're in the
Yeah.
scene and the music. So you travel, and it's all the conditions are there to become like this kind of big scene, this family. So it's kind of
Yeah.
easy on this level to make friends, and it's so weird touring because you're on like a tight time. You meet the people for one night, but
Yes.
that's the night you have with these people until maybe 5 years is the next time you'll see them. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and isn't it weird? It feels like time doesn't pass. I guess like we just all have a very very similar mindset, but when you see these people that treated you so well, that cooked like an amazing meal for you, and you see them like 4 years later, it's like time hasn't passed. They're as nice as always. We're as nice as always. So yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
nice gathering.
no, I hear you. And 5 years after, you still feel like being like, hey, huge hug, like it's
Yes,
no,
yes.
it's definitely a beauty of touring, I find.
Excellent. Well, Mel, we already jumped in, but I'm gonna rewind a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, I want to give a brief introduction on you. You've been the vocalist for Fuck the Facts for about 20 years, I believe. And something really cool about you is you take a lot of care of the visual aspect of the band. I believe ever since you've been in the band, you've taken care of all of the cover art.
Yeah, I've done all the cover art with the exception of our split with Lenche.
Okay.
And there's an EP that I didn't do. I think it's unnamed EP. It was on cassette. I just didn't have the time
Okay.
to do those two, because I'm not, I don't do art for any other bands. Now that I have two kids and a full-time job, like I don't have time to do art. Sometimes I would love to have a bit more time, but
Right.
I'm thinking maybe it'll be a retirement project. Who knows? So it takes a lot of dedication and effort for me to like make artwork happening.
Yeah.
And because I don't do it all the time, it's more intense. Like, you haven't done artwork for 3 years, and then you're like, okay, I
Yeah.
gotta come up with something. It's always scary.
Yeah.
So yeah. So but yeah, I still do it and I enjoy it because it's like it's fun, because when I look at a release, like our last album, for example, like obviously it's our song, like we wrote them,
Right.
but we tracked them, we mixed them, and we did the artwork for them for it, and it's self-released. So it's really us in all these
Yes.
years,
You're getting ahead of me. I was gonna tackle your whole like DIY. I think like you Fuck the Facts is the definition of DIY. There's nothing someone else does. Like maybe you get help, but you're tackling like everything. But we're gonna get into
Okay,
that.
I'll shut up.
Yeah. But I did want to ask you, isn't it like, because I also take care of the visual aspect of the band, and obviously it's so much fun. It's like really cool to have like a pattern, like when you put them all together, like you see like every cover has its story. But
yeah.
isn't it like a lot of pressure sometimes when it's like you have to outdo the previous one? I don't know what you feel. Do you feel like you need to
Okay, I
outdo
hate
yourself?
that feeling. Yeah. Well, not outdo, but you gotta think like it has to be at least not worse, right? Like
Yes.
yeah. And like that's so much pressure. It's too much pressure for me. Like
Yeah.
there's a point in each artwork in the past few years, because I do less, and albums are like few and far between now. And like I'll start it, and there's this panic moment. It's not good. And only Topan, I guitar player, Fuck the Facts, and we've been together for many, many years. So like he sees it. He knows. He can recognize the moment when I'm like, oh no, like I'm not gonna make it. Like it's tough. But normally from that bad crunch, that's where it starts going better after, and that's where like the project kind of gets either like a direction or like I'll find an idea that's helping, but
Okay.
it feels like I need to crash really badly
Oh wow.
before.
So do you think does that always happen, that like crash moment, or is there, it always does? Wow.
Well, recently in the
Pretty
past
cool
like
thing.
past
Okay.
few albums, there's always been a point where I'm like, holy shit, this is not going
Like
well.
this is horrible.
Well, yeah, like the last album, like it's not the cover I have and the concept. I tried something different first,
Uh-huh.
and there's a point that I had to admit, like, no, and it's tough. Like you have to admit yourself, like, no, this is not it. Like,
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
just ditch all this and start from scratch.
But do you have Topan there? How do you pronounce his name?
Topon.
Topan? Okay,
Yeah.
so Topan, does he work as your sort of like therapist, cheerleader, like, no, it's awesome, or you're gonna make it, or is he there backing you up?
Well, for this specific case, he knows it. So he's like, you always get to that point, you know it's gonna be fine, you know? So he knows, but he's really good at giving me like, he doesn't sugarcoat things. So he'll tell me if it's not good, it's not good. And if he likes it, I'll know.
Okay.
You know, so that's good. It's good to have. And I think
Tough love.
Yeah, just the honesty you want from someone that close. And like now it's different. Like we've been me, the drummer, and Topon as the core for many, many years. But before the drummer joined, I think he joined in like 2005, 2004, but maybe I'm wrong. We had a period where like all the other members were kind of leaving. They didn't want to tour, and having Topon and I as like having each other made it that we kind of pursued and had like us being close and together made it that I don't know, like not that we survived as a band, but it gave us like there was someone else that was willing to put the same effort and go crazy with this band.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
I totally get that like third driving force that you needed. Awesome. So Mel, again, this is good. We're on a roll, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Like on all of my podcasts, this is a new thing for me. Your episode, I believe 19 or 20, and but it's been so much fun during the pandemic. Thank you once again for joining me. I start off all of my podcasts with the same question, which for me is one of the like most interesting and fun questions you could ask someone, which is, do you prefer sweet or salty food?
Oh, salty.
Yeah. Okay. And do you have imagine today was your last Sunday and you had to say goodbye to the world was gonna explode tomorrow. What would be that last dish, that last meal you would eat? And it could be from any restaurant, or maybe it's a dish your mother would prepare for you, or Topon prepares for you, or
oh my
something
God,
like
no.
that.
I wouldn't let my mom or Topon prepare a dish for me. And that's the problem, is I'm the person, even when I was like an older teenager, my parents didn't cook anymore because they realized that I could cook well. So if I was in the house, I was the person to cook.
Wow.
And same thing with Topon, I'm the cook. So I think if this was the last day, I would be like, fuck it, we're eating chips, I'm not cooking. So this would be it.
Okay, good one. Any I like your answer. You mean like potato chips in a bag?
Yeah, crisps, like the British would call.
Okay, crisps. And a specific one, or you would just like go balls out and buy like a variety of 10?
Since we're going with the idea that this is the last day on earth, like normally we always have a bag of chips kicking around. I really wouldn't care what flavor it is. Like I don't have time to go to the store. This is the last day. Like I'm not gonna waste it, you know. Like fuck the flavor. Just I don't even know if I would have the stomach to eat.
Okay.
You
excellent.
know, like
I really that makes sense. I really like the clever twist you've given this. No one's given me this answer. I like it. You're like, I would be too nervous to eat chips, and if I had the option, I would just eat whatever's at home. So
yeah, fuck it. Like
Okay.
There's other stuff, I think, but
Yeah.
hopefully this Sunday is not the last day. But I do have a few bags of chips, so I will be able to pick my flavor if it is. So
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Good answer.
what
So,
about you? What was your pick for
oh,
that?
thank you. You might be the first person that's asked me. Well, I'm half Spanish, half Filipino.
Okay.
I was born in Manila, Philippines, but I've pretty much lived all my life here in Madrid, Spain. And I would definitely go for like an a Filipino like buffet of like
Okay.
just vegan Filipino food, just like basic. Have you been to the Philippines? Have you toured Asia?
No.
Okay. Um, well, it's not. Have you ever tried Filipino food?
No, and
Okay.
I had a good friend that lived close by for years, but she never cooked for me, so I never had yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, if Fuck the Facts ever makes it back to Madrid and I book the show, I'll make sure the catering's Filipino. So this would be my answer. It would be like yeah, it would be like a full on Filipino Asian vegan buffet, like 100%.
That sounds delicious because you
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
vegan. So there's nothing worse than going to a buffet. Like I don't eat meat myself, but I'm not
Mhm.
vegan. And
Okay.
like going to a buffet and then you're like, well, you can eat the bread and the raw vegetables.
And
like
I
it's
can have
not
a
exciting.
Coke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I'm not vegan myself. I'm vegetarian, but if I have the option, I like to go like full on, like, since it's the last day and I can ask for whatever I want, it's gonna be
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. And now, keeping on the topic with food, because today's a fun chat. We're gonna keep on talking about food. That's cool because I wasn't aware you were such a cook. You've always
Oh,
been
I'm not
like,
an amazing cook, but I'm, I can whip up stuff quickly
okay,
that tastes, like
okay.
tastes good. And
I'm sure you're being humble. I'm sure. Do your kids like your cooking?
oh yeah.
Okay, there you go.
And it's like the kind of cooking that if we go to some restaurant, I'll be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah,
so,
you're.
but some fancy, of course, like a lot of restaurants, I can't pull it off, but some others, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not worth it because I can make something quickly like that,
Yes. Okay. I totally get. In Spanish, the word would be resolutiva, which you can like make something. Like you can make a really good meal with few ingredients.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it comes from like coming up from punk life. Like I got used to having really little and living on really little.
Okay.
So from that you learn that you buy only whatever is on sale.
Yes.
And you got rice and make something with this, like, so that's how like I kind of
Awesome.
grew up.
Few resources. That's like, I don't know if you're into like horror movies, but like,
Yes.
okay, awesome. So like I think some of John Carpenter's like best films was when he was working on a budget and had few resources. With like Escape from New York, like he made that movie look humongous, but he was on a budget. He made it look like it was an apocalyptic New York, but it was just him with few resources.
Having limited resources sometimes will force creativity. And it's funny that you're talking about that, because 2 nights ago, I just watched for the first time the original Night of the Living Dead from 1968.
Nice.
And that's what we felt. It's like, well, this for the time was awesome. And like, from what I was reading, the budget was really limited. Like,
oh yeah.
So probably a lot of creativity, budget limits, but for the time, it's wow. There's one actress I couldn't stand the acting, but all the rest was really good.
You mean the main actress?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she was.
Like, no, you can't act.
Yeah. Have you seen that's awesome. You bring that up because I love that movie, of course. Have you seen the remake that was made in 1990?
No, should I?
You should. It's made by the same people. Because the whole story, see, I could ramble about horror movies forever. So, but we're gonna get back to food. When they made this movie, like they fucked up the copyrights. So like
I
it's
lost you for a second.
okay. Okay,
Am I a constant for connection?
you're good. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But as I said, this isn't live. We're recording this so I can like edit it.
Yep.
So you could so interesting you say you couldn't stand the girl. Because in the 1990 remake, like it was made by the same people, Tom Savini and George Romero. They flipped her around. Like they made that girl be like very heroic, you know, like in the first movie she comes off as like weak, and I think I think they did that unconsciously, and then they learned from their mistakes, and then the 1990 remake she's like Ripley from Alien, you know, she's like super badass.
Yeah. It's something I really like because we're talking about horror movies now. I had a phase, and Topan didn't want to follow me in that phase. He's like, no, thank you. But I was only almost watching like horror movies and Hitchcock movies, all the black and white stuff, and like stuff with Bela Lugosi's, all that era. Like,
Excellent.
And what was fascinating to me was not necessarily the stories, because they're not all good, but it was interesting to see the difference and how we evolved and our social values have evolved. And often the woman is like, you'll see things like, oh, shut up, don't give me your opinion. And it's like, okay, you know, like it really changed. And I think seeing her in that, you know, in that film was like, she's in shock, so she's hysteric and useless. And this is, I think, remnants from, you know, older thinking of women is like, they're useless creature, they're stupid, and she's scared, so she's useless. So that was, I think, part of the minding before this character. But she's bad enough of an actress that you stop being in the action to think, oh, she's so bad. So it's kind of a, how do you call that, suspense of disbelief.
That's the term.
So her acting kind of made me like step out of the movie and be like, what? You know?
Yeah, okay. So definitely I do recommend at some point watching the remake from 1990. New. It's like 30 years old, but or 40 or something. Yeah. And because that the character in the movie is the one that's like, everyone get your fucking shit together. Let's work together, you know, like she's it's a really cool role. Anyways, we're gonna talk about...
say,
go ahead. Go ahead.
What's cool about that is you're mentioning Ripley. I think that's super awesome with the first Alien. Like, you don't expect the woman to be just so strong. And
that's 1979. So that's like that's back in the day. But it is true. Yeah, she's like one of the first heroines I can think of, actually, at such a like big scale. So that's really badass. Yeah. Good one. But what is cool about, see, I could ramble about fucking horror movies. What is cool about like Night of the Living Dead, they I think at that point, as you said, 1968, they didn't give a lot of I think like Black people, African American people came off as also as like weak characters. But in Night of the Living Dead, like I forgot what his name was, maybe Peter, has
the main guy.
He has like a main role in like an all white cast. So that was cool.
And he's not treated like, nobody's calling him like racial slur or anything. He's a strong main character. You got a good point with that. I'm curious what's behind like this decision, but it works.
I think I saw the making of. I think it came down when they were doing casting, he was just the best actor, and they were like, we have to go with this guy because he's badass, you know. Like,
but that's cool. That's how it should be, right?
Exactly.
The right one.
Okay, we're gonna talk more about horror later, and I love that like you're into horror, Hitchcock, and like Bela Lugosi and all that stuff. I prepared a lightning round for you of just questions about food. Okay? So you have to answer quick, either A or B. So, Mel, do you prefer breakfast or dinner?
A.
Whatever. Do you prefer, well, then you're gonna give me the same answer here. Do you prefer brunch or midnight snack?
Brunch, but I find that word so ugly.
Okay, yeah. It just started existing what, like 9 years ago or something like that? Okay. Yeah. Fruit or vegetables?
Fruits.
Okay, cool. Um I have a thing with fruit, which like I consider I eat enough fruit, but not, I should eat more. But every time I'm eating like a delicious fruit, I think like I should eat this all day. It's so delicious.
Yeah.
Nothing tops like an amazing mango or something like that.
Yeah, it's like you won't crave that necessarily, but once you have it, you're like,
Yeah,
this
you're like,
is
oh, it's so fresh. Yeah. Okay, so Chinese food or Japanese food?
um well, here I can only reference to what we have here. So
Okay.
what we have for Japanese food, we have like Japanese steakhouse.
Okay.
And Chinese food we have is more like, North American Chinese food.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they both have good stuff, but the steakhouse is a lot targeted with meat. So
Okay.
Chinese,
Okay.
like
Okay.
it's all meat with the
Okay.
Japanese.
Okay. And peanuts or a bag of chips?
Chips.
Okay. I knew you were gonna say that. Cereal or pancakes?
Pancakes, but hopefully someone else makes them because it takes too long to make, and the first one always sucks when you make them.
Okay. I'm guessing you make them from scratch.
Yeah, always.
Okay. Here at home when we make pancakes, the first one is always for bingo, for the dog.
Oh, see, I need a dog just for that first pancake.
Yeah,
Or I guess my almost 3-year-old, I could be like, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. French fries or baked potato?
French fries.
Okay. Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like how your answers are like whatever. Like
they all have
whatever's
something,
closest.
right?
Yeah.
Shitty pizza is or reheated pasta. No, like so
Right.
if like fresh pasta with decent sauce, okay, but
Right. And
yeah. So it's all.
okay, gotcha. So I want to ask you now about we're still talking about food. I'm gonna cut it short because I feel like we're talking too much about food. But I like talking about food because it tells me a lot about people. What about your kids? Do they have a favorite dish?
Yeah, so I have a kid that cannot tolerate dairy.
Okay.
So, and me being a vegetarian, there's a lot of vegan stuff here.
Okay.
And she loves mac and cheese, but
Okay.
we not the real one, not the Kraft dinner. So we buy this sauce of vegan cheese,
Ooh.
and we put that over macaroni with like hot dog sausage, but vegan, so I can eat them.
Wow.
Peas. That's her favorite meal. And it's not even bad. That's the worst part. It doesn't even taste bad.
I mean, that makes sense. I can totally see that being I think that's a lot of little kids' favorite food, like macaroni and cheese. But that's cool.
Yeah.
Props to you for making the vegan one.
Yeah, and I find kids they really like when meals are not mixed in together. So if you have the white rice, the tofu, and the cut up veggies not cooked, it's super good for them. And for us adults, like it's better all mixed with the sauce and the spices.
Right.
But at that age, it's like you gotta decompose sometimes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
That's a good point. That's a good point. So I'm sorry, I didn't catch you. They like it when it's mixed, or they don't like it when it's mixed?
No, they prefer like decomposed version.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's why in schools, like the trays at food, when you buy food, like it's a lot of divisions,
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Maybe.
One last food question. You've traveled a lot, especially with the band.
Yep.
You've done Europe a lot. Does one catering come to mind that was like amazing and blew you away?
Yes and no. But that's an interesting subject, and I've reflected a lot before on how touring. Oh, you want tea? I'll have to. So touring affected my cooking. I've started cooking way better, like Mexican / Tex-Mex food after touring a lot and spending a lot of time in South US. I now make way better pasta still now after spending a lot of time with our Italian driver on European tours. So I find touring really influenced my cooking because you get to taste some things that you wouldn't have thought of mixing together and see how people do it. It's fun to see like whoever you're staying with cooking and get inspired by how they're doing it. So that really made a
nice
an impact on me. But I would say the best catering, there was a show in Amsterdam and someone bought for us Surinamese food.
Okay.
It's like Suriname. It was a colony of Amsterdam at some point.
Okay, cool.
So it was really tasty.
Wow. Okay, and this was in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that territory, like around that whole area in Europe, has like amazing catering. So, nice. Okay, good. Thanks for the awesome answer, especially like you reflecting on how much you've learned from seeing other people cook, or maybe even from other people's mistakes, because like we get a lot of wet pasta on tour, and you want to avoid that.
There's a lot of times that I can recall, like you put the spoon way far, like after your the place where you can taste on your tongue, you want to make sure to not taste because it's really bad. Like it happens so many times, and that's fun, like it's food, you eat it. But other times you're just like, but catering is not a big thing in North America. That's something more for Europe. Like here, you don't often get food.
Right.
It's quite different in Europe. It's part of like, you don't even need to be a big touring band. Like you get fed.
Yeah.
And I think it's really nice. Like it was a shock for us on our first European tour to see what's the kind of the minimum standard of hospitality is blowing our mind as like North American.
Awesome. Yeah. I've never toured the US, but yeah, from what I gather, like, hopefully, like, yeah, usually it's like you'll get paid for the show, but you need to figure out where you're sleeping and what you're gonna eat and all of that.
Yeah, and like promoters are awesome. Like it's not nice. Like they're not nice. It's just a different game. It's different culture of how you receive bands. And sometimes promoters will feed you, and sometimes they'll give you beer, they'll find you a place to stay, but it's not the norm always, as in Europe that has a way
gotcha
standard for that, or whatever, different culture.
And what do you find has been most convenient for Fuck the Facts, like sleeping wise? Are you usually like hitting up friends, or can you afford like motels, hotels?
No, we've got so many stories. Like touring the US and Canada, like it got better after many years because then you make friends and you go to sleep at your friend's house. But in places we didn't have friends, we would often just ask on stage, like during the set, like, hey, anybody can have us over. And it was really rare in like our crazy history of show that we didn't find a place. But we slept in some insane places. Like we've got some wild stories. Like I could go on for hours about this. And we met all stories on like opposite spectrum, like we've met awesome people, like places like you don't want to leave,
Right.
Or like wild stories with guns and vomit and whatever you want to name it. Like you question yourself if you should leave. You don't say
right. Do you mind sharing like one of those like stories that blew your mind, whether it's for the good or for the bad?
There's a lot. I don't know in which direction I should go. But I'll go for the gun because I mentioned guns.
Okay.
One time we slept at a guy's house, and he was somewhat drunk and he drove, and it felt at that time, maybe like 8 years ago, it felt less frowned upon to be drunk driving. Like I can think, I don't know for you, but here in Canada, like it's not cool.
Yeah, not cool.
Like there, we would see like more often. Felt a bit more normalized. Not saying everybody's pro that. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, so we ended up at his place, and I think he was back from the war and he clearly had post-traumatic syndrome, and
Okay.
it was starting to bring out his gun, and then he was starting to be irritated.
Oof.
And you could tell something was sticking him off, and he was becoming aggressive a bit, but not I'm gonna hit you, but like you could tell something was not right anymore.
Scary.
Yeah, and I think it's the first time that, and he ended up going to bed, and we all like went to bed. But I remember like, he didn't threaten us, but it was like the first time that I had this fear for my life. Hey, like shit can happen here, like, and like all our other stories is like, okay, people are puking, you're getting woken up by someone wanting crack, like crazy shit like that, but you don't feel like your life is in danger.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this one was like, whoa, okay, like I wanna make it home. I don't want this to be the end.
Yeah, and I can only imagine, like, if all I don't know about you, I've seen very few guns, and when I've seen them, like, thankfully it's been in hands of a sober person, but even that was like scary. I was like, I don't even want to touch that. I don't want you to explain it to me. Like, I'd rather you just like put that away.
Yeah, it's a different mind again. Like for the people in the US, I guess like they probably grew up like their dad showed them how to shoot guns. They probably shot guns as
Hunting,
teenagers as activity together. But like you, this is not something I grew up with. This is not something I feel comfortable be around, and especially not someone that has like post-traumatic syndrome and has them loaded around him. I'm like, yeah.
And was this a case of you saying something on stage like, we need a place to sleep? So was it a stranger?
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like a friend of a friend.
No.
So it was like someone random from the show.
Yeah, and like, I know that maybe I misread him. Maybe he never had that intention. And in the end, he did invite us over. So he did show us a great act of kindness. But you always have to listen, like in that little voice in you at the same time. If you feel danger, you gotta listen to it as well.
Yes.
But so it's important to not shut that voice too much, because that's what saves us, sometimes.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, so
okay.
I went sad on this one, eh?
No, it's super interesting. No, it's super interesting. The different points of view from just different cultures, like because I've seen everything, and in I think here in Spain we might have, I don't want to generalize, but I definitely have I can relate to how you feel.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
It's not a thing. Yeah, exactly. So Mel, I want to ask you about how you and Topon, for the listeners, Topon is another big pillar in Fuck the Facts. He's the guitarist and the other mastermind in Fuck the Facts. And you've been together for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you how both of you, how Fuck the Facts have been handling COVID. Like, how's it been? It's been a crazy year.
Well, obviously, like we've been together now for 19 years, him and I. So obviously, if like we're still together, we get along well and we work well together. So us being locked down, because that's what we are now in Canada. You can't even go out of your house past 8 p.m. You can't see friends. You can't do anything. Okay. So it helps. I think about people that live alone. Like I feel blessed that I'm with someone that, I really get along well and I like spending time with. Yeah. And the kids too. It's like, it's not boring. We've got a party of our own in our house, for better, for worse, and for the band, it's been really good in some sense, because that's what allowed us to finish the album. I don't think Plein Noirceur would have been released at that date. I think the release date would have been later if it wasn't for COVID. Okay. COVID gave us time, like, because Topon has his job is his studio. It's where we record, but he does also like a bunch of like other bands, and
Mhm.
even like non-local bands would send him stuff to mix and master. So that's what he does full time.
Cool.
So he always had a lot of stuff going on. So like the lockdown and COVID made it that suddenly he had more time. Like other projects weren't coming in as much because bands couldn't come to record.
Okay.
So that gave time to finish the album, like the mixing and mastering. So that was really good.
Great. So it sped stuff up
Yeah.
for
There's
okay.
there's good pros to
Okay. Excellent.
yeah, and another good thing is my job is not as busy and I'm
Okay.
working from home. So it was like I didn't feel as stressed because we do our own shipping, our own like
Mhm.
ordering, like everything. So there was a lot, like it was really overwhelming, which is a beautiful problem.
Right.
But we didn't expect that much support. Like after 5 years, you never know if people will remember you, if like people will want to buy this album. So we had like a lot of shipping nights and weekends.
Okay. Was it?
And it
Sorry,
was
go
good
ahead.
because it's COVID. So what else are you gonna do? Like
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
so yeah.
And wow, okay, thank you for the answer. Like there's a lot of things I want to tackle upon. First of all, what do you do for a living?
I'm a special event production coordinator. So I
Okay.
handle technical aspect for event, room setup, security, staff
Gotcha.
at Canada's biggest museum, which is pretty cool. So it's the History Museum of Canada.
Ooh.
And
Nice.
it also has another museum in the same administration, which is the Canadian War Museum.
Oh,
So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been there for many, many years.
that's cool. So is there like there's a lot of dinosaurs in your museum?
No, we have
Oh.
a lot of totem poles
Oh,
in
okay.
the
Still
History
very cool.
Museum. A lot of totem poles and like just various stuff. And the War Museum has a lot of tanks. And
Nice. Okay, so your job involves a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, that
well,
kind of stuff.
mostly no, my job is mostly like getting events ready and then doing the event.
Gotcha.
But now there's no events.
Right.
Because
Okay.
of COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I work from home and I do different projects here and there, but it's not the same.
Okay.
So before I would do crazy hours, I would come back home at like 10, 11 p.m. because that's when the event finishes. But so it's not the case now. So that gave me less crazy schedule, was helpful to be able to have some time for the band too.
Gotcha. And this is super cool because you've worked with a lot of labels in the past, but that's super cool. You've Fuck the Facts has gone super DIY and like you're handling all of the packaging. Can you give me a rough estimate of how many packages you've had to do with this new record?
Oh, it was wild. Like we didn't expect, and like me saying wild, like I mean, I'm sure like Cannibal Corpse would be like, yeah, this is nothing. But no, like we didn't believe it. We sold out of our first pressing of CD and vinyl by around even before Christmas, and we reprinted a second print for the CD and vinyl. So we're pretty stoked. Like we weren't sure for quantity, so we kind of went low, like not wanting to be stuck with, and extra. Now we did a second pressing, so that was really good.
And I apologize do you mind sharing those numbers? It's just interesting to me because I handle this aspect with my band.
Yeah, well, we pressed 300 vinyls and 250 CDs.
Great.
And we sold them all before Christmas. So all that is a package, right?
Right.
And like 100 cassettes, I think. But sometimes people will combine, But so yeah, so that was a lot of packages. But it's cool. Like I can't complain.
You did something that was so cool and so genius, and I might need to steal this idea, which was every format, whether it's the tape, the CD, or the vinyl, contained a bonus track, but it was a different bonus track. Is that correct?
Yeah, totally. And that's really Topan. Like Topan's like always, like I'm more like rational and he's like really creative. Like I like Excel chart sheets, and he likes he likes to think about concept, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's scary, and he's like, I've got an idea, and I'm like, oh no. You know, like I remember I had finished all the artwork, and then he's like, oh, I got an idea, we'll put an extra track, and I was like, oh fuck, I've got to redo all of this now. But it wasn't that bad, you know. But
Right.
he always has this he's really good at conceptualizing and thinking about these little ideas. So he came up with that, and it just made sense. Even though I was lazy and I didn't want to redo the artwork, I agreed that it was awesome. So we just
But
did it.
that's so cool. It's kind of like what, for lack of a better term, what you lack, he has, and vice versa. You
Yeah,
know, so it just
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the perfect fit. Yeah, you're more Excel sheet, and he's more like
I'm making fun here, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
it's
Totally
like
get it.
I can totally see like we've got different brains, different system of thinking, and yeah, there's like he's good at putting songs in an order for a flow, so he's good at thinking about concepts, and I do not have that at all. So yeah, that's his.
So talking about the new album, I don't want to butcher the name. You said it before. Can you pronounce it again?
Pleine Noirceur.
Okay, awesome. I think it was really smart what you did, which was like post a video online where you explain the process behind the artwork. That's super interesting to me. And of course, DIY. Was it Topon recording, or you just set up a camera and did it on your own?
Well, Topon was pressing record, but it's like I'm better with my camera, so I had done the focus and everything, but he was recording it.
Okay.
But you can see at some point I'm still bummed. I like look at it and I'm like, no, you gotta pretend there's nobody, you know? But
yeah.
No, it's fun. It's fun to share that, because I was really, really happy about the process, and actual like I felt like telling the story, like this is my mama, you know? Like
exactly. And I thought, like, when I started watching the video, I thought it just revolved around your mother, and then I kept seeing like involved more and more family members, and not just your family, also Topon's. And like, can you elaborate more on the like whole family theme behind this record?
Well, we like back in when I started doing artwork, I would steal photos on the internet and change them, you know. But since many albums ago, I would like I don't want to steal photos, you know. Times have changed, and you know I'm more aware of the issue.
Right.
So I haven't done it in a long time. So I make sure that everything we use is either a photo I took. And I'm not a great photographer, but I bought a camera just for the purpose of, if I need a texture, it's a photo I took, you know, instead of something I stole. Like I don't want to do that. So we wanted to use photos we had. So photos we had around were in my parents' basement, and you know, Topon asked his mom what she had. So with that in hand, we just went with
that's, you know, okay.
Yeah.
So it just happened organically. You were not really hunting, but it just stumbled upon you, like, oh, let's use these because they're really cool photographs. Like the one on the cover, the one of your mom looking in the mirror. Yeah, so you might as well.
Yeah, and you want to find a photo, and all these photos, like you grab it and you're like, yeah, there's like something not super rational in you that you just realize, yes, this photo, like this works, this is it. So you want to have that click, and I instantly felt it with that cover photo. And I remember showing Topa, and I was like, look, like not without saying much, and it was like, like he knew. So it's kind of cool. Like
it just has that it factor that you can't really explain. It just it just clicks. Awesome. And I want to ask you a bit. I really like your artwork because it always seems like you're using mixed media. You know, there's always there's always an element of hands-on, and then there's inevitably like a digital aspect, whether it's like scanning them together or something like that. And because this album, it has, I saw you use the textures you use, is that like acrylic paint or oil paint?
It was a mix of probably acrylic with a bit of pastel, like probably There's two types of pastel. Like there's the dry and the not dry one. The not dry one probably, but I'm not too sure. I think it was
Okay.
the pastel.
Okay. So it's
I forgot.
okay. So your whole process is you have the texture, you have the picture, you put them together in Photoshop, and then you play around there.
For this one, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Like they all have a different process, but they all involve mixed media.
Okay.
The one before Desire Will Rot was way more hand drawings,
Mhm.
but it was still overimposed over something. Like the one before, it was a photograph of ice, and on a bridge nearby between where the ice started forming, where is white, then you got between the river and the ice, orange, and then the river. So that was the background. That's what I did the last time, and then I put artwork over it.
Okay.
Now
what record is this one? The one
Desire Will Rot.
Okay. Desire Will Rot. Okay.
And now this one was photo and texture over, and then you kind of play and you switch around things or add little, make it darker, like I was saying. Like,
yes, very cool. And I love that, like, you're handwriting the stuff, instead of using a font or something.
Well, it's all, when I was saying, like, you go with what feels like that's it for this album. Like sometimes it's like you look at an artwork and you're like, okay, this is going to be a font artwork.
Yeah.
And this one was like, no, this is going to be especially with the texture, it felt like, I really felt like at school, like on the chalkboard, you see like the handwritten like notes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What came to mind with me was more that works perfectly, but just like postcard, like something really quick, for sure. Mel, I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick, and I want to ask you about Amer. Okay.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you about my favorite Fuck the Facts record, which is Amer. You consider that an LP or an EP?
What's the difference between an EP and an LP? LP is an album?
Yeah, and EP is like a short album.
Yeah, it's an EP.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure.
I actually picked that one up when we played together in Madrid. I was super psyched about it. And maybe it's because it caught me at the right moment, but that out what I really like about Fuck the Facts is that even though it's super grindy, there's always that emotional aspect to your music. But I feel like it really stood out to me on this record, and and it works. Do you think the same?
Oh yeah, and I liked it. It has a bit of a really depressing journey on this one.
Yes.
And like and music. I like hearing when someone feels like that about our music, because I love feeling like that about certain albums. It just grabs you, and it's dark. It's a tough journey, but I don't know.
It's super. It feels like, even like, as I said, emotional, but it feels nostalgic. Even when I heard it at the time, in 2013, it felt like reminiscing about the past. Just the notes, it creates an atmosphere it gives you the chills. So I really love that album. And I wanted to ask you about, I never deciphered what the album artwork was. It seemed like a silhouette of a person to me, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's someone looking at the sun.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense.
It's all silhouettes, but it's not light. It's heavy. Like they're not looking. They're like,
right. Yeah. Okay. And was that was totally just painting, right? There's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So I just wanted to congratulate you on that album, because that one's really stood the test of time for me. And for me, a big part of Fuck the Facts was Mark's involvement in Fuck the Facts, and I feel like he really stood out on that EP. And I wanted to ask you, what happened? Why did you take separate paths?
So just after we recorded Desire Will Rot, Johnny which was the second guitar player, decided not to do the touring with us. Like he decided to stop being in the band. And Johnny and Mark was the bass player for many years, and Johnny was the bass player for many years. They both live 7 hours away from us.
Wow.
6 or 7 hours. And that's when there's no traffic, because they live just past the biggest city in Canada with the shittiest traffic.
Right.
So when they would come down, it would be like it demanded a lot of dedication from them to come.
Right.
And obviously we didn't jam with them all like every week. But it was really cool when they would come down, because it was like family over, you know? Like
yeah.
stay and
Sleepover.
and like my daughter loved them back in the days. We just had one. She really loved it. It was like a kind of a party for her.
Nice.
So when we started doing this I Will Rot for the touring circuit, Johnny decided not to. And then towards the end, Mark decided that he wanted to do other stuff. And so we agree with him that he would finish with us, like the full, like we had like 2 tours left. One was Europe and the other one was, I think, US. That he would do that with us. And then that would be it. So after that, even us as a band, like we didn't even know if we wanted to keep going. Like we had given so much energy for so many years that we all needed a break, like a big break from it. So it was not just him, like even Ville and I, like we really needed to pause on this.
Okay. And what year was this?
That was 2016. In April 2016 is when we did our last show in Europe. And then we didn't even play a show for 3 years, I think, after that.
Okay, so 2016 till, so it's like a sort of hiatus, not talked about, but it's just like life organically. It's just like you took it easy.
Yeah, we didn't even know. There was no plans. We didn't even know if we would ever jam again together, or if there's no plan. We were just like, okay, let's.
Right.
Yeah.
So 3 years after, so that last show I was in 2016 was in Europe, in Belgium, right? Because I think I just heard
it was in Italy, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, because I think you were talking about it on that Euro, the live stream you did.
No, I think it was a festival in Italy, but like the kind of fest that's like so chaotic.
Okay.
But it was kind of weird that it was the last show. But I think that's what it was.
Okay. And my question is, and when you came back, what was this, 2019, 2020, something like that?
We did like the guys didn't even jam for a full year. And then they started, like the drummer Bill and Topan, just like at some point like, hey, you want to feel like jamming? Like you want to start practicing again? So they did. And we played a show then in May 2019 was the first show after a big break. And once they started jamming, they started slowly writing some new stuff, but not with any mission or like written path in mind. It was not like, okay, we're writing song 1 for the next album. It was just like, let's write stuff and let's see where that brings us.
Okay, so how many shows since 2016 has it been?
We just played 2 shows.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, but we did, you're right, the last show we actually played is in Belgium. Was in 2019 in the fall. It was for a festival.
Okay.
I forget the name of the festival now, but
was that like a one-off show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So like flew you in and everything.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Nice. Okay, I that's a great feeling. You're like, really? You want to fly me in? Okay. Okay. Awesome. So talking about this, it seems like the pandemic has let Fuck the Facts work even quicker with all of the shipping, with finishing the album. So what can people look forward to for the rest of the year, Fuck the Facts wise?
Well, now it's challenging because the closing restrictions are so strict now that the guys can't even practice together. Right. So we haven't we haven't done much. So that's why we decided to hang out and do some live event, because it's a way to not replay shows because it's completely different beast, but yeah, still have our hands in.
It's just fun, right?
Yeah, in
It's
there.
just
I don't
have
know.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the video. I haven't watched it entirely, but the one where Topan's just talking about the like rare discography, like the
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know this info. Like I didn't watch it completely myself. But it's cool. Like if someone wants to know now, it's out there on the web, and like info's there. But
I think
he's got such a crazy story at first, because Fuck the Facts was him at first, just on his 4-track, tracking himself in his basement. It's a cool
drum
start.
machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Like yeah, we've been in a similar situation where it's been like, what the fuck do we do now? And the bottom line is like, just do whatever is fun, like don't think about it too much. Just do what's real to you. Like if it's doing these videos or whatever, just have fun. Remember, we're doing this for fun. And okay, anything else you want to mention about Fuck the Facts before I want to ask you a couple of questions about movies?
Okay.
Okay. Sorry if this is super cliche, but when I hear Canada, the first thing that comes to mind is David Cronenberg. I love David Cronenberg. And I want to know, like, is he a big deal there, or is it like an underground thing?
Let me just, because I have in mind Dead Ringer that I just saw. I think it's him,
yes,
right?
It is him.
And well, we all know the name. It is as much probably of a big deal as everywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah,
sometimes like there's those like local heroes, like in Spain we'll get that a bit, like maybe a movie director is famous all around the world, but back home like I don't know, it's like a bigger deal.
I think maybe because I'm from the Quebec side of Canada, I think we might have that a bit with Xavier Nolan. We have that a bit.
Who did you just mention?
I think that what you're saying, the star effect, I think we have it a bit with Xavier Nolan. He did The Mummy and a few movies. It's not horror, but they're really good. They're really good movies. But at home, he's like,
Okay, so it's like
he'll
the
be
hometown
on
hero.
Yeah. Well, it'll be on every media if he releases something. Cronenberg, like, I think he's big enough that he could be from any country. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not realizing that next door there's a Cronenberg fan club and I'm not aware of it. But you know.
Okay.
But I just realized I was looking at his discography, and he hasn't done anything since Map to the Star. That's 2014.
Okay, but this is where his son has like kind of taken over. His son, which I forgot what his name is, something Cronenberg, obviously.
Junior.
Cronenberg Jr. He just, have you heard of the movie Possessor?
No.
Okay, that's his, and like it's been like a big hype like this last year.
Oh, cool.
And he's just following in the footsteps. I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but he's like kind of following in the footsteps of his dad.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah. My last question is a selfish question, which is for me, which is have you seen any cool horror flicks during the pandemic? If so, anything you'd like to share?
You gotta give me a few minutes here, because I rate every movie I watch on IMDb.
Oh,
just
nice.
So I don't forget that I've seen a movie, right?
Okay.
I'm not into TV shows that much. I prefer movies. I find TV shows are too much of a commitment. Like a movie is.
Yeah, likewise. I can agree on that. And sometimes with TV shows, I feel like sometimes the main focus is on like trying to have the spectator coming back wanting for more. Like instead of like focusing on like a good character study or a good storyline or it's like they just want to keep you hooked. So like,
they want to. Yeah. They got to think about I saw Gutland. That wasn't that bad. It was somewhat horror movie, and Holiday wasn't that bad.
Okay.
But not something that I'm like, you gotta watch it. Night Demon was good. I would consider that horror.
Yeah, Night Demon. But is this like the classic old movie you're talking about?
No. It's a quite recent movie. It's The Night Demon. It's a 2016 movie. It's horror thriller.
Awesome. I haven't heard about this. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I would say it's in my best of the past few months. Let me see what else I got. There's another good one that I saw. It's a movie from which country again? It's not English. It's called Demon, and it's from 2015. It was really good, but it was somewhere in Europe. I sound like an idiot now, not finding the country. But those are my two like most recent.
Okay. So a lot of Demon in your selection.
Well, it's a coincidence, you know. A movie is good, and
exactly.
I saw Dead Ringer that I really like. That's in the past few months.
Okay. I've only seen Dead Ringer out all of this, but I'm writing down Night Demon and Demon. And
that's funny. I heard both.
Yeah.
But the Demon one, the Night Demon will be easy to find, but the Demon one, it's from 2015, and it's directed by Marcin Rona. And it's like I think it's him. It's a sad story. Like he was really good, but he killed himself not long after this movie.
Wow. Okay.
It's from Poland.
Okay. So it's a bit okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds really cool. Have you seen, talking about demons, have you seen Demons from the Italian, there's Demons 1 and 2. They're Italian movies by Lamberto Bava, the son of Mario Bava. Super cool.
Didn't see that.
Demons, I believe you're gonna like. It's like from 1985, and the soundtrack is all like heavy metal from back then. It's super,
never seen that.
It's really fun. It's super gory, and like the characters are very memorable, and it's balls out. Yeah, if you're looking to have a good time. I don't know. You said Topan isn't that much into this stuff, but maybe.
No, he is. Okay. He didn't follow me in my like black and white only like quest for like old movies and.
Okay.
Yeah, and, like we watched a few like the ones that I really thought were like this is like a classic even nowadays. It's stand the test of time. He would watch with me, but like I went went a bit far for a while.
Yeah,
like,
you have to be careful because sometimes I've been down that like rabbit hole and like it'll fuck with your mind, you know. You're like watching it's like listening to grindcore is great, but don't listen to like grindcore every day, you know. You will go like same with like horror movies, like you will go into a dark place if you're not careful.
Yeah, and like also some of those are not that great, like you know, like they're not that good. That's just what it is, you know. Like it takes effort to watch. Like you gotta want to see the movie because it doesn't have much.
Yeah, they can get
at the time it was good, but
they can get, maybe sometimes the rhythm can get boring, or the acting is not great. So like so you have to be in the right mindset, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we're done. Thank you so much. Okay, that was fun. That was quick, you know. I mean, I feel like an hour and 15 minutes have went by quickly, so that's always a good sign. And I'd love to have Topan on at some point. So I'll hit him up through you in a couple of months, if that sounds good.
Oh yeah, totally. Just send me an email and you'll be down for sure. Yeah, I have a good No, it's Spain. You're gonna eat in like 4 hours. I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Today I'm preparing something new, which is pizza, but the crust is made out of cauliflower. So I
heard about that. It sounds so hippie. I hope it's good.
Yeah, exactly. But this is because I eat so much pizza. I need to like tone it down. You know, I can't be eating so much bread. I'm gonna see if it works out well. Bread
is like 75% of what we eat. It's insane. Like when you think about it. Yeah.
So I'm trying to tone it down. You know, so I'm gonna go to the supermarket and buy that right now.
That was Fuck the Facts with one of their latest singles. They have 2 music videos from their latest album, and I'm not even gonna try and butcher the name because it's in Canadian French. I decided to play this song because it really reminds me of my favorite Fuck the Facts release, which was Amer, and it just has that vibe. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed, please rate, subscribe, like, tell your friends about this, tell your dog about this, tell your cat about this, tell your turtle about this, tell your giraffe about this. Funny thing about giraffes is my mom wanted a baby giraffe and she never got one. So maybe I need to get a baby giraffe tattooed on me? I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work with my other tattoos, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. So thank you very much, Mel, for joining me. And next week, next month, or whenever, we're gonna have several other guests. Lately, I've had Miko from the Finnish band Ravage Ritual, my friend Mario from the band Sudestada / Kemer / many other bands from Spain, and I had someone else, which I do not remember who. Oh, Dave Hoffa, an author. I've never had an author on my podcast, so that's really cool. Thank you very much for tuning in, and good night, goodbye, good morning.